All right, Shalom Aleichem Rabotai. Welcome to our class on Yalkut Yosef. We are in volume 3, Berkot Ha'Shachar and Bרכות Acharot and other Berachot. Last week we gave a little bit of an introduction about how we came across these Berkot Ha'Shachar. Rabotonai Gaon, we brought him that says that Halacha leMoshe miSinai, a person had to say 100 Berachot a day, but they weren't written down, and came Chachamim in the time of Anshe Knesset Gdola and said, you know what, in order to get to these 100 Berachot, let's be Metaken Berachot. So they fixed the 18 Berachot of Berkot Ha'Shachar, and we a little bit touched that. And now, with your permission, we're going to continue from where we stopped. So one of the questions that we ask in Berkot Ha'Shachar, Baruchim Habayim, Ilan, Simon, I'm not sure who the last person is, but welcome. Okay. Ad matai efshar levarech, meaning, oh, Shalom Aleichem, long time no see, Nick. Amazing, Baruch haba.
Thank you.
All right, so the question we're going to deal with right now is, until when can we say Berkot Ha'Shachar? A person forgot to say it in the morning, or a person woke up late, or he had a flight and he ended up getting to the other country and when it was dark already and he didn't say, is he allowed to, until what time? So some say that halachically you can only say Berkot Ha'Shachar until the 4th hour. Remember we spoke about Sha'ot Zmaniot, halachic hours, until the 4th hour. Some say until midday, until 12 o'clock. But Ha'ari HaKadosh, the famous Kabbalist, he holds that we can do it until Shkia, which means until sunset, and any time on that until then. If you haven't said Berkot Ha'Shachar, you can. Rav Ovadia brings proof. He brings a list of Rabbanim that hold that we could say it until Shkia. And he says that a Gaon Mivilna, listen to this, a Gaon Mivilna on Yom Kippurim, he didn't say the Beracha She'asa li kol tzorki. Berakat She'asa li kol tzorki means that Hashem gave me shoes to wear. Shoes is a very important thing because it protects the feet. Back then, there were scorpions walking around and whatnot. This was a big deal. So you don't say that because on Yom Kippur you cannot wear leather shoes, right? So when Yom Kippur was over, the sun was already out, a Gaon Mevina would stand up and say the bracha that he did not say in the morning. And if in the morning he only said 17 brachot because She'asa li kol tzorki, we don't have these shoes. How can we say a bracha when we don't have shoes? That's how we held, and he said it Motzei Yom Kippur. Says Rav Ovadia, we don't hold like a Gaon Mivilna. We're not going to say that we hold like him, and even at Tzet Kippur we could say it. But since so many rabbis say that until Shkia we can say it, therefore we shouldn't have a problem to do that. Guys, I'm going to ask a question. I'm hearing a lot of screaming. I just want to make sure, is everybody also hearing it, or is it just me? You hear a little bit? Okay. All right, let's hope it'll be better now.
Don't call that screaming. I call that music. That's music.
Music, but the focus is better without that music. It's Sfirat HaOmer. We don't listen to music in Sfirat HaOmer. Okay, Uncle Mike joined us as well. Baruch haba. Question, even though they are not here with us, but we're going to ask for them. The women, are women obligated to say Berkot Ha'Shachar? Can anyone tell me why women would not be obligated? What's the difference between...
They're not time obligated, mitzvot.
Chazaku Baruch, Simon, Chazaku Baruch. Exactly. Women are known to not be obligated to do mitzvot that are dependent on time, like Sukkah, with Sukkah and Sukkot, okay? So says Rav Ovadia that we can't say that the Berkot Ha'Shachar are mitzvot that are dependent on time. And what's his proof? He says, because we saw that the Gaon Mivilna said She'asa li kol tzorki after Shkia, which means a Gaon Mivilna held that you could say it even all night long. And if it's not dependent on only daytime and not nighttime, it's not dependent on time. You could say it any time. And since you could say it any time, says Rav Ovadia, women would be obligated. But comes Rav Moshe Levi and asks a tough question to Rav Ovadia. He says, what do you mean? You yourself, Rav Ovadia, hold that we cannot say Berkot Ha'Shachar at night. You bring a Gaon Mivilna, but you say halacha is not like him. But now when we want to say that it's mitzvah that is dependent on time, you say, no, it's not because of the Gaon Mivilna, but you don't hold like the Gaon Mivilna. You understand this question? You're proving through him, but you don't agree with him. So maybe it is only dependent on time because we can only say it during the day. So now comes the Or Letzion. Or Letzion is Chacham ben Zion Abba Shaul, which is, by the way, the rabbi of our very own Arav Eliyahu ben Chaim, together with Rav Ovadia Yosef. They were both at the head of the yeshiva over there. So what's his shita? He says that really women are exempt when it's a mitzvah. For example, Arbat Aminim, Lulav, it's a mitzvah. Sukkah, it's a mitzvah. But these berachot are not obligation of a mitzvah. They're obligation of a praise. We are praising Hashem. We're not doing a mitzvah. And he says, when it comes to praising, then women don't have that exemption. No, it's dependent on time. It doesn't matter if it's depending on time. Once it's a praise to Hashem, women are obligated just like us. It says that he brought it to the Rosh Yeshiva of Berkot Yosef, his rabbi, Rav Ezra Atiyah, which Rav Ben Chaim also learned under, and Rav Ezra Atiyah said, I accept your claim. So bottom line, women are obligated just like men to say Berkot Ha'Shachar. The only difference is, anybody know, there's one bracha that the women say differently. We say, Baruch Ata Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam shelo asani isha, that you did not make me a woman. Do women say that bracha? Their bracha changes. What do they say? Baruch Ata Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam she'asani kirtzono. Hashem, thank you for making me as your will, kirtzono. Now, it's not just a politically correct, you made me like you want. And not a man, it's okay, you did what you want with me. No, there's depth to it, which means Hashem originally wants us to all be fixed neshamot. Men, the neshama is in a lower place. It has much more work. Therefore, we have mitzvot, and we have much more obligations, and we have to learn Torah to make our soul more sublime. But the women, they are already much more sublime. Therefore, Hashem already made them like He wants. Asani kirtzono. Hashem, thank you for making me like you want, that I'm not obligated. Either way, that is the one beracha that women say differently. Now, listen to this question. Lo alenu, someone that is blind, all right, or someone that is deaf. One of the berachot are, anoten lasichvi bina, leavchin ben yom uven laila. Hashem, thank you for giving the sichvi. What's a sichvi? It's a chicken. Thank you for giving the chicken the wisdom to differentiate between day and night. That's the simple meaning of the beracha. The day has come, the chicken woke up, kukuri kuku, and he lets us know that it's day. So we say, thank you, Hashem, for knowing that. Now you may say, maybe the person that is deaf should not say the beracha because he doesn't hear that chicken. Or maybe the person that is blind should not say the beracha because he doesn't see if it's day or night. So what is the case? I don't know if I told you this story, but Rabbi Mansour said that this is not so far-fetched. He was saying that when he went to Morocco, I think I said this to you, on a trip in Morocco, he opened the window of the hotel and there was a chicken tied with a string next to the window. So what is this? That's the alarm clock. That's how some people still use the chicken. Hanoten la sechvi bina. This is my alarm clock. Anyway, what is the halacha? So he says gacha. אוסרים על העבר לברך פוקח עברים, שגם מברך למנהגו של עולם, ושיש פוסקים שאסרו בגלל סבל נמנעים ונראה עכשיו. So let's explain. Let's go first to the ברכה of פוקח עברים. Hashem says, I open your eyes, the eyes of the blind. Every morning we thank Hashem for פוקח עברים. The Magen Avraham holds that the blind man, he's not פוקח his eyes, he's not opening his eyes. The blind man cannot see. How could he say פוקח עברים? And therefore the blind man should not say פוקח עברים. This is one opinion, the Magen Avraham. However, comes the Pri Chadash, opinion number 2, and he says, no. The blind man, although he himself cannot see that it's daytime now, but he still is grateful that it is light. Why is he grateful? Because other people that see that it's light can guide him and help him cross the street. So he has benefit by the light. And therefore, he should say a bracha, a thank you for the light. According to the Mekubalim, the Ben Ish Chai, as well as the Ari HaKadosh, we're first bringing the opinions, and we'll say halacha lema'aseh. They hold that it doesn't matter if the blind man or the deaf person hears or sees. These berachot, the verbal meaning is one thing, but that's a much lower hidden thing. Really underneath, there's a much deeper thing that's happening in these berachot. The Mekubalim say it's fixing things in the upper worlds and it's bringing down certain abundance. We don't understand that, but therefore, even if he's blind, even if he can't hear or he can't see, it doesn't matter. The brachot are an action that is fixing up in the heavens, and therefore we have to say all of them completely. That is their opinion. Rav Ovadia says, Rav Ovadia doesn't like the approach that the Kabbalah has. A Kabbalah, because it's a mystical way. Rav Ovadia wants something to grab onto down here. So what does Rav Ovadia say? He says the reason why we would tell these people that they should say a bracha is because they are saying a bracha on minhago shel olam. What does that mean? There's a concept called minhago shel olam, the way of the world. All of the world says these berachot. All of the world is grateful for the sun. All of the world is grateful for the chicken. So maybe we could say that you should say it on minhago shel olam. When do we say, listen to this. I want to read it from inside. הרב עובדיה אומר, שכל מה שאומרים שמברך על מנהגו של עולם, זה כשיש לו את האפשרות ולא עושה כן. When do we say, however, says Rav Ovadia, this claim of minhago shel olam, of saying a bracha on the way of the world, is when, let's say there's a bracha called Ozer Yisrael B'Gvura. Thank you, Hashem, for giving me a belt. I'm tying the belt on top of me, or some say the pants, we'll see soon. There's a bracha for that. Thank you for giving me the pants, the belt, right? Now he says, if I don't have that belt right now, but if I have the belt, but I don't put it on right now, I still have the ability to put it on, right? It's just something, I didn't put it on today. That's when you say minhago shel olam. I'll say the bracha. Today I didn't feel like wearing a belt, but I have the ability to wear a belt. Rabbi says, but maybe with a blind man it's not the same, because he doesn't have the ability to choose. Today I see, today I don't see. That's it. He cannot see. If I don't do the belt, or if I don't put the hat on, there's a bracha for the hat. We'll see all these things that wearing shoes. If I don't put them on, I still have the ability, and therefore, for the custom of the word that says, I'll say. But when I don't have the ability, says Rav Ovadia, maybe I shouldn't say. So it's kind of left in a question mark, and halachically, this is what's happening. According to the Magen Avraham, we don't say a beracha, and since we have a doubt, the halacha told to people is if someone lo alenu is blind, we tell him not to say a beracha. However, since there are opinions that you can say, either it's because of the Kabbalah or because minhago shel olam, the way of the world, said Rav Ovadia, if you saw a blind man that did say a beracha, you don't have to come and tell him, hey, what did you do? You're not supposed to say a beracha. No. If he did it, it's okay. He has what to rely on. But if someone will come and ask you to say or not to say, the answer is not to say. Right, I'm going to ask you a question now. The beracha of matir asurim. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, matir asurim. What does that mean? Anybody know?
Is the hostages?
Okay, that's exactly, meaning the literal explanation to the matir asurim. Asur is someone that is cuffed, or someone that is closed, is locked up, and matir means that you opened up the lock. So as he's saying, matir asurim, Be'ezrat Hashem, hostages will come home soon, and they should all say that beracha. But in the morning, why are we saying this beracha? So they explain that a person.
Is it also like the ability to forget?
Say it again. Ability to forget.
I remember learning once that like Matir Asrim is also, you should have in mind that you like God blessed us with the ability to forget like our losses. Like if someone passes away and stuff, we're able to overcome it, so we're not like bound to that sadness anymore.
I heard that perush that you're saying on a pasuk in Parashat Ha'azinu. It says, "Sur iladecha teshi." Hashem gave us the gift of forgetting. I never heard it in context to Matir Asurim, even though I get the connection. Maybe like you release us from what is holding us down, the sadness. Yeah, exactly. It's a very nice perush. I never heard it, but fits beautifully. Chazak u'baruch. Very nice. Hear what Ilan here is saying. Matir Asurim, you could explain that Asur, what am I locked in? It's not a physical lock. It's locked in sorrow, locked in pain, and Hashem releases us from that pain. It's a very nice beracha, but what would it have to do with waking up in the morning? Meaning, what pain are we released from in the morning? We have to look, we have to find. But the idea is nice. So what is Matir Asurim for the morning? According to Rabbi Mansour and his explanation on Berkot Ha'Shachar, he brings down that when a person is asleep, then his whole body wasn't moving. It's as if he was locked, because when someone is sleeping, there's no movement. And now that he woke up, he's moving. That movement allows him to, release himself from the situation that he was. And on that, he says that we say Matir Asurim. A pretty similar beracha to that is the next beracha, Zokef Kefufim. It also has kind of a similar interpretation, but a bit different. What's the difference? Once you woke up, now you're not just laying in the bed and able to move your hands and stretch. You're able to stand up. Zokef Kefufim. You allowed me to straighten my back. You're allowing me to straighten myself and get up. So that's the bracha. What are we going to ask right now? Before we said maybe a blind man shouldn't say a bracha on opening my eyes. So what question can we ask on Zokef Kefufim? Hashem, thank you for allowing me to stand up straight. Does someone handicapped that cannot stand up straight say this bracha? Because he's not Zokef Kefufim, he stays kafuf, he stays bent, he's not able to stand up. Should he or should he not? So according to the Ben Ishchai and the Mekubalim, as we said before, it's the minhag of the olam, and it's also tikkunim, it's fixing stuff up in the heaven, and therefore according to the Kabbalah, no matter what the situation is, these are like, pipes of energy, you want to call it whatever you want to call it, that go up to the heavens and bring down abundance. You never close those pipes. You always have to say the bracha. According to Rav Ovadia, we didn't hear what he says. If someone chas v'chalila is handicapped, should he say zokef kefufim or not? So Rav Mansur concludes that maybe the halacha would be the same like with pokeach ivrim. That really, since we have a doubt, maybe a handicapped person shouldn't say it, but if he does say it, you don't have the obligation to say, hey, stop. Because at the end of the day, he has very good sources to rely on. What is the beracha of Malbish Arumim? We're going through the Berkot Ha'Shachar. The next beracha is Malbish Arumim. Let me just adjust this. Malbish Arumim means, Hashem, thank you for dressing the naked. Right? Now, why? Why do the clothing of a person get a beracha? The pasuk says about Aaron HaKohen. Aaron had clothing, special clothing to work in the Mishkan. Te'asita bigdei kodesh le'aharon achicha lechavod u'ltifaret. And you shall make clothing to your brother Aharon, lechavod u'ltifaret, to praise and glorify him. Which means clothing have two things that they give us. One, physical protection, it's not to get scratched, not to get mosquito bites, whatever it is. But second, also, it gives a person kavod. You're dressed, it's not the same. A person that's coming to a job interview and he's coming with shorts and a t-shirt, or he's coming with a suit, everybody understands that the approach to him is going to be different according to what he's wearing. Clothing gives you a certain amount of looks, an amount of honor, and therefore for that we are praising Hashem that we have those clothing. What does it mean? Hanoten laya'ef Giacomo, Baruch haba. What does it mean? Hanoten laya'ef koach. Anybody know? Guys, you gotta know. You say this every day.
Strength to the weary.
Ah, all right, Steve. So I appreciate you not telling the answers. Yes, giving strength to the weak. We were tired. We were sleepy. We went to sleep. It's like putting your phone in the charger overnight. You wake up in the morning, the battery's full. That's basically, today we can understand this bracha much more with the phones. The phone is now fully charged. Thank you, Hashem. You charged us. You took our neshama. You gave it full energy and you brought it back to us. Next beracha, roka haaretz al hamayim. So let's explain this a little bit. Literally, that means Hashem bless you for, you are blessed for putting the land on the water, right? Most of the world is water, yet we are still able to stand on soil, stand on land, and it's a miracle how the soil stands on the water, right? Like in Tehillim, we read right before Baruch Shema, we have Odu LaHashem ki tov ki leolam chazdo. We have 26 ki leolam chazdo. One of them says Liroka haaretz al hamayim ki leolam chazdo. Liroka haaretz al hamayim. What are we praising Hashem? Same thing of Berkot Ha'Shachar. Hashem, you're taking the land and you're putting it on water, and it's miraculously standing. That's something that only you can do. Thank you, Hashem. Asks the Ben Ishchai an interesting question. The Ben Ishchai says, if we're praising Hashem because he is able to make the land stand on water, say it once in your life. Hashem, thank you. Hashem, you did it. Finish. Every morning I'm going to say the same beracha. It happened. It's done. It's standing. Says the Ben Ishchai, understand the beautiful principle. The principle is that Hashem did not just make a miracle and leave us. Every second of the day, Hashem is making that miracle happen. So for us, it's a new day. We say, this already happened in the past. It's happening right now. So every day we thank Hashem for not letting us go. I'll give another example to explain this a little better. One of the curses that the snake got was that he gets food his whole life. So you may think, what's the problem? Anything he eats, it's sufficient for him. He gets full from it. So maybe that would be a good thing. What's the curse? The curse is Hashem is saying, I'm removing my hashgacha from you. I'm no longer watching over you. I created you. I owe you food. You have food. Don't come to me. I'm done with you. That seems like not such a bad deal, but really, the worst thing that could happen to a person is if Hashem removes his ashgacha from him, removes his viewing over him. Hashem doesn't need to punish, doesn't need to curse, to do anything. Just by not watching over us for a second already, it brings so many problems. That's why we're saying the bracha that Hashem is rukar etz alamayim. Every second of the day, Hashem is making it stand on water. It's not a one-time miracle that's done and now it's like that. It's happening all the time. If Hashem will just for one day decide today, I'm not cursing, I'm not punishing, I'm just not watching over the land. We'll all sink in. And therefore, every day from the beginning, we have to say this beracha avroka ha'aretz alamayim. Next bracha, Berkot Ha'Shachar, is called Hamechin Mitzadei Gaver. So what does that mean? There are two different interpretations. Either we praise Hashem that we are able to walk on two and not on four like all the other animals. We're saying, Hashem, we don't make us like the animals. Hamechin Mitzadei, you're allowing us to walk. We're walking on twos, the animals are four, you differentiated between us and them. Interpretation number two would be that Hashem is guiding our footsteps everywhere we go. Okay? Mechin mitzadei gaver, mechin mechaven, comes from the word directing. I think today I'm going to go to the train. All of a sudden, on the way to the train, I get a phone call, oh, can you go buy me some groceries? I had to make a stop, go home. Then chas v'chalila, somebody hears, something happened to the train. This, what? Random? Hashem mechin mitzadei gaver, Hashem directs our footsteps. Anywhere we go, we end up getting to is not random. Hashem is running the world, and everything is done according to His will. Thank you, Hashem, for directing us in a way that is best for us. One of the foundations of emunah that we have is that Hashem is ruling the world. And by directing us to a certain direction, it's not random. It's there for us, for our benefit. How do we benefit? But I needed to go to a meeting. Now I missed it because I missed the bus. We don't know. Maybe that meeting, maybe if I had got that job and now that position would have been bad for me because it would have weakened me spiritually. We don't know. But we know that the cheshbonot of Hashem are for our benefit. Thank you, Hashem, for directing our footsteps. Hamechin mitzadei gaver. Next bracha, she'asali kol tzorki. So we spoke about this before. It refers to the shoes. Hashem, you made our tzorech is need. Hashem, you fulfilled my needs. The most basic need. I think back then they felt it much more was having shoes so that your feet are protected. So Rabbi Mansour addressed the question that we asked before. Why say a bracha every single day on this? Hashem, thank you for giving me shoes. I bought the shoes. I own the shoes. The shoes are in the closet. Every day I'm going to say a bracha for the shoes. I already have them. A little bit like the water. Why are you saying a bracha every single day? Says Rabbi Mansour. Once he was in a hotel and he got robbed and someone took away his shoes. I don't know, the cleaning, the Mexican people that were supposed to clean his shoes went away with it. He didn't have shoes. One day he didn't have shoes. He said, what am I going to do without shoes right now? Now I appreciate the beracha. She'asali kol tzorki. I appreciate the fact that it's the same thing with the clothing as well. Why would we say every day, malbish harumim, dressing us every day? I have the clothing already. Don't take it for granted that it's in the closet. It looks like it's there on its say, but if Hashem wants, it also could not be there. Every day from the beginning, we thank Hashem for this as well. Do we say beracha she'asali kol tzorki on Yom Kippur? So we mentioned this before. The Gaon Mevilna said we don't say it on Yom Kippur. We wait till after Kippur and then we say it then. According to the Kabbalah, you do not say the beracha. According to Rav Ovadia says you should say she'asali kol tzorki. Because even though that we're not using, well, I hope I'm not mixing up the Kabbalah or the Pshat. You know what? I don't want to tell you this. I want to first look into it one more time and write the same, because I remember differently from what I wrote here. And before I tell you a mistake, chas v'chalila, I'm going to double check. So I owe you regarding Yom Kippur and saying the bracha of she'asali kol tzorki. So I'm going to say this for next time. Let's go to Ozer Yisrael Bigvura. Ozer Yisrael Bigvura means, thank you Hashem for giving me a belt. Le'ezor motnai means to close my hips. In other words, to buckle myself, to put on a belt, okay? Now, the Pri Chadash says no. It doesn't mean putting on a belt. It means putting on pants. Even but just by putting on pants, you should say that beracha. Why is this important? Because a Rambam holds that the only way to say this beracha is right after doing the action. Now, it's right that we don't follow him. We said even though we don't do the action, even if I didn't put on pants that day, if I didn't put on a belt that day, but it's important to understand, was it a belt? Was it pants? What did the Rambam hold that you say a bracha on? So there's a machloket, either on the belt or on the pants. What is his proof? He says, let me prove to you that even though it sounds like a belt, but it's referring to pants. Because in the Gemara says that this avnet, the belt that they would wear wasn't really a belt. It's called lovesh avnet. It didn't say buckling the avnet. It said wearing the avnet. Since it said wearing, must be that it was pants and not really a belt. Because if it was a belt, it would have said chogeh, it would have said buckled, and therefore the bracha is on the pants. Machloket over here, it doesn't really matter to us, because either way, as I said, halacha is not like a Rambam, so we don't need to do the action to say the bracha. We're going to say the bracha regardless, but one common denominator between these two opinions is that the fact that we put on either the belt or the pants creates a separation between our lower body and our upper body. The upper body represents the heart, the mind, the spirituality, and our lower body represents the physicality. And we are thanking Hashem for allowing us to have the spiritual above the physical. Our mind is able to control our physical aspirations. There's another pirush. לכן כתוב בגבורה, כי יש לו גיבור הכובש את יצרו. What does it mean עוזר ישראל בגבורה? Tying our belt with might? Why do you need to tie it with might? Gevura means might, but it also means something else. Anybody learn from Pirkei Avot? Eizehu gibor, who is considered a gibor? HaKovesh et yitzro. He was able to conquer his will, right? So why is that connected to this beracha? Because we're saying we're separating between the lower body and upper body. The lower body has certain wills, certain needs, and we are able to yod gibor. We are able to be stronger above our lower body by creating that separation. In other words, we are thanking Hashem for giving us the mental, which is able to overcome the physical. At least ideally, it should overcome the physical. I got time for maybe one more two. Oter Israel betifara. Oter Israel betifara, very simple. La'ator means to wear a hat. Ateret is a crown. La'ator is to wear a hat. So we say, Hashem, thank you for giving us a hat. Now you're going to tell me, oh, I don't wear a hat every day. Some people may. I don't wear a hat. Do I still say this beracha? So really in Europe, they used to put on hats. And it made sense. In America, we don't see that people wear hats every day. And some in America held, some of the poskim in America held that maybe we shouldn't say this beracha. But halachically, the Tosafot brings, the Pri Chadash brings, that of course we say this beracha, even if we don't put on a hat, we are thanking Hashem for that ability. According to the Kabbalah, of course, we would say it anyway because it has little connection to what physically is written, that actually what is happening in the heavens when we say this beracha. If someone asks you, what does it mean? Oter Yisrael b'tifara, thank you Hashem for giving me a hat. I don't wear a hat. Don't worry, there are other reasons to say this beracha. Side note, is kippah a mandatory thing? Am I obligated to cover my head, to wear a kippah? So let's look at the language of the Shulchan Aruch, that from his water we drink. Says the Shulchan Aruch, Asur lilech bekomas kufa. A person is not allowed to walk around. Komas kufa means like this, like gava, I'm the king of the world, right? And then he continues, Velo ilech arba amot, and he shouldn't walk 4 amot, that's about 2 meters, like 6-7 feet, begilui rosh, with his head uncovered. Why? Because of the honor of the divine presence that is with him. And really, if we look at the language of the Shulchan Aruch, he doesn't write it as an obligation, which means from the dry halacha, there is no obligation to wear a kippah. But everybody says today, wear a kippah, wear a kippah. So the reason they say why we should wear a kippah today is to differentiate us from those that aren't walking in the ways of Hashem. We should have a kippah. This is according to the Pshat. According to the Zohar, according to the Kabbalah, a person needs to have a hair cover because for him, it's a way of honoring the divine presence, to show that you are God-fearing. I heard this, I never knew before. Anybody know what yarmulke means in Yiddish? Or I guess it's Yiddish. Yarmulke comes from Yareh Malka, fearing from the king, fearing from God. I don't know, any of you know that? I never heard that before until I read this. So yarmulke is to show that you're fearing from God, and therefore it's a symbol. I'm God-fearing. But is the dry halacha obligating me? No. The Tool brings that his father, the Rosh, whenever he would put on the tefillin he would say, Oter Israel betifara. That's my crown. The tefillin is my crown, my keter, and that's what I'm proud of. However, that's not the halacha. It doesn't refer to the crown, it refers to a hat. And even if you don't put on a hat that day, you should say the beracha. Okay, we're going to stop here. Zakowil, gentlemen, great seeing you. Without Hashem,
Thank
we'll
you,
see you
sir.
next week.
Thank you, Ziv.
Nick, Baruch haba, welcome.
Shabbat
Thank you.
shalom.
Shabbat
Thank you.
shalom, Shabbat shalom.
Because